Hi everyone, Ray here with another Awakening Short. These are a series of short talks that I'm giving, trying to share some of the things that I've learned from a very intense spiritual path that has lasted many decades. My original thought was just to cover one topic, maybe not in full, but hit the high points in some short talks that people would have time to listen to, so that what I have gleaned from a lifetime of intense spiritual effort doesn't get lost when I pass away. This talk might be a little bit longer, though, because the only comments and feedback that I've been getting have been from people asking me to make the talks longer. They want me to go more in depth, to explain more, and apparently they are willing to invest the time to listen to more detailed talk, and don't need it to be a short little 7-minute talk. So my original hallucination that people are too busy and want everything short, because that's what YouTube shows to me more often than not, is the short videos. It seems like everyone with hundreds of thousands of views are just making 2-minute Instagram videos and then they post them on YouTube. So, I don't really understand how this social media stuff works. But I'm just going to start talking and see what we hear. So, and this kind of builds on the last video about spiritual purification. You have two ways of thinking. One way is ego-based, and it is grounded in a sense of separation, fear, lack, scarcity consciousness. It's grounded in a sense of you feeling separate from everything else in the universe. Everything else, objects, chairs, tables, lamps, and everyone else, people. The people in your daily experience. You feel separated from everyone. You feel separated from everything. And so you feel threatened, potentially threatened by everything and everyone around you. Everything, when you are coming from this sense of fear and separation and lack, everything and everyone is a potential threat. And so in an effort to safeguard yourself from these threats, from these potential threats, you might try to form alliances with other people in an effort to get for yourself a sense of greater security and greater safety. But these alliances, coming out of this fear-based notion and feeling of deep separation and alienation, these alliances are always transactional in nature. You give something to the other person in an effort to get back from them something that you want or need. And of course, you always want to get back more from the other person than you are giving to them. You want the transaction to be in your favor. You want to get more than you give. And sometimes you're able to do that. Sometimes it's a wash. Sometimes you give more than you get back. And you go ahead and you do this transaction because you really want or need what the other person is going to be giving back. And you're willing to give more in your perception than what you're getting back. But of course, now you have an underlying feeling of resentment towards this other person. It might be conscious, it might be subconscious, but you have this, if you are engaged in a transactional alliance, because you're coming out of this fear-based separation consciousness. And so you see the other person is ultimately separate and different from you. And in an effort to make yourself feel safer, you're trying to make an alliance with this other person, but it's a transactional alliance. And in this transaction, you are getting back less than what you are putting into it. You're paying more than you're getting. So you have an underlying feeling of resentment corroding your transactional alliance with this other person. And of course, when you succeed in getting more than you're giving, the other person now feels resentment towards you. And again, consciously or subconsciously, this feeling of resentment corrodes your transactional alliance. And these are the only kinds of alliances that fear-based, separation grounded, egoic consciousnesses are able to make with one another. So that's one thought system that you have in your mind. But you also have another way of looking at things, another thought system that's based in love and joy and expansion and unity, seeing yourself as one with everything, including all other people. And you can look at this, in a spiritual, metaphysical way. You're one with everyone because there's only one of us here. There's one consciousness, and we all share that one consciousness. My inner consciousness and your inner consciousness are the same consciousness. So therefore, we are one, even though we appear to be more than one. So that's the spiritual, metaphysical way of looking at it. But you don't even have to really go that esoteric. We're all one because every human being has the same basic wants and needs as you do. If you spend time with anyone, you'll eventually come to realize that they are exactly like you. They might have different tastes in television shows or movies or art or music than you do. They might have different political opinions than you do, but ultimately their deepest want and need is the same as your deepest wants and needs, which is to feel safe and secure, to feel appreciated and loved, to be able to relate to other people from a sense of cooperation rather than the kind of competition and conflict that accompanies the fear-based, egoic separation way of looking at things. So in that sense, that psychological sense, we're all one. So when you look at the world, when you look at other people from the viewpoint of unity consciousness, that we are all one, and therefore it's not necessary to be in conflict with the other person, because then you're just being in conflict with yourself. And it makes the beloved more accessible, more obvious. If you are one with the other person, then there's no point in having a feeling other than love towards that other person. And then your relationships are not transactional in nature. They're not fear-based. You're not forming an alliance with one particular person so that the two of you can feel safer from the attacks of everybody else. You're simply one in love with that other person or with those other people. This can be community-based as well, community-wide. So you're coming from a place of abundance, from a place of love. You don't need to get something. You are instead lovingly sharing. You feel safe within yourself and you extend this safety to others. And this has to be more than just a concept in your head, an idea in your mind. A lot of spirituality wants to take you out of your body. It wants to say, I am not the body. I'm not my thoughts. I'm awareness. And then the awareness is floating in limbo, disconnected from the body. But it's important to realize that so long as you have a body, to deny its existence is to deny yourself a great tool that you have, because the body can show you which thought system you're thinking with. When you're thinking with fear-based, separation-based, conflict, competition, scarcity thoughts, you get an energetic contraction in your body. The body never lies to you. The mind can lie. You can rationalize to yourself misguided, delusional thinking. You can make excuses for selfishly transactional alliances. You can justify anything. You can tell yourself that thinking with this fear-based separation mind is okay, justified. There's no other choice. I have to do it this way, otherwise people will take advantage of me. So you can lie to yourself and convince yourself that this egoic way of thinking is the way to go and that there's nothing wrong with it. You can even convince yourself that you're actually thinking for the greater good of all and you're not being selfish. You can convince yourself of anything. The mind will lie to you. The body never lies. The body simply reacts and responds to the perceptions and the emotions and the thoughts that you are thinking and having. So when you get engaged into these egoic, conflicted, fear-based, separation-based thoughts and emotions and consciousness, your body will contract. It will contract on an energetic level, which eventually becomes a physical contraction in your muscles and your fascia, and you become stiff. And people accumulate these contractions and this stiffness over and over again, year after year, decade after decade, through a lifetime. And they become old, their bodies become old and stiff, and they can barely move because they've got so much contracted tension stuffed down into their bodies. And that cuts off the flow of the life force energy to all the body's organs and cells. And eventually, if you don't deal with it, it manifests as physical disease, and then you die, which is the universe's benevolent and loving way of making sure you cannot be too evil for too long. And most people never figure this out, and they never learn the lesson, and they get old and they die. But you can instead recognize that your body is this wonderful tool for giving you feedback on which thought system you are using. The mind can lie to you, but the body never lies. If you are engaged in this separation consciousness, this non-loving, fear-based, competitive, conflicting, transactional way of looking at things, you will feel a contraction in your body. If you you can feel the contraction in your body. You have to be willing to tune into your body and look at what you're feeling. A lot of people will never they never put their awareness on their body. They never pay any attention to how their body is feeling because they don't want to feel it, because it doesn't feel good to feel contracted and tense, and to have your body's energy field telling you that you're engaged in delusional thinking. So they can get very skillful at having almost no connection with their body whatsoever, just becoming totally disconnected from their body and suppressing all of that tension, suppressing that negative energy so that they don't have to feel it. But of course, just because you don't feel it doesn't mean it isn't there. And it doesn't mean it isn't interfering with the flow of your life force through your body. And it doesn't mean that it's not going to eventually manifest as an actual physical disease. So, it's like if you have a car and the low oil light comes on, and instead of stopping and putting oil in your car, you put a piece of black tape over the low oil light so you don't have to see it. Ultimately, that's not a very intelligent way to go. It might make you feel better in the short term, but long term, it's not a very intelligent way to go. So you should not disregard the low oil light signal that your body is giving you. You shouldn't disregard the contracted negative energetic signal that's coming from your body that is telling you you are currently engaged in delusional thinking. You are chasing thoughts that are not real, that are not grounded in reality, and that is why you feel bad. And when you use this thought system of love and oneness and abundance, then your body feels open and expansive and joyous and relaxed. Do you feel tense or do you feel relaxed? It's like a yes, no, red light, green light indicator from your body telling you whether your thought system is based in reality or delusional. And as long as you have a body that doesn't lie to, and your body does not lie to you, and it's giving you a low oil indicator, it's giving you a yes no indicator, a reality versus delusion indicator, use it. You've got it for a reason. It's there. Don't get into your spirituality so much that you've become totally disconnected from your body and lose all the information that your body can give you. Use that information. Anytime that you are feeling relaxed and joyous and loving, you know that your thought system, the thoughts that you are having, the emotions that you're having, your perception, how you are perceiving reality at that moment, how you're seeing the other person, they're talking to you and they're saying whatever they're saying, and you're receiving it as either an expression of love from them or a request of love from you, then your body is going to feel relaxed and you're going to know that you're on the right track. If you're thinking in delusional, competition-based, fear-based, feeling threatened, feeling vulnerable by everything, and then someone's talking to you and they're saying whatever they're saying and you're seeing it as an attack, you feel it as an attack. It may not even be an attack, even in the intention of the person speaking, but you feel attacked. You're receiving an attack. You feel under attack. And your body is going to feel contracted and tense and nervous and anxious. And that, even if you see, when you're thinking about what the other person is saying, you got a whole story going. Oh, they're just saying this because they don't like me because 12 years ago I won first prize and they didn't. All right, you got a whole little narrative going on in your mind justifying why you feel like this person is attacking you. But if you disregard that and go into your body and see how is my body feeling right now, and you notice that your body is giving you all the signals of tension and nervousness and anxiety and contracted energy that tell you you have low oil. You're engaged in delusional thinking right now. So now you know the thinking is delusional. So you don't have to follow it. You don't waste time trying to justify stuff and figure stuff out. You just know, I must be thinking delusionally right now, not grounded in reality, because otherwise my body would not be feeling this way. So how can I look at this differently? And by asking that question, how can I look at this differently? You're accessing this other thought system, this other way of looking at things. And the answers will come just by asking the question. You shift your mind into moving into this other way of looking at things, and then the other way of looking at things will start to come in, and you'll start to see, no, this person is not really attacking me. Actually, they're looking for my help, and they don't know a better way of doing it. They're asking for love in the best way that they know how, and maybe it's not particularly effective. Maybe they're not particularly skillful at asking for love, but that's really what's going on. So should I respond with love or should I attack back? Obviously, I should respond with love. And then you respond with love, and that calls on the love in them, and it gets activated and it responds back. And then your energy field starts to relax and becomes uncontracted. It relaxes. You lose the anxiety, you lose the fear, the tension melts, and you're on the right track. So that's using the body to help you navigate this amazing classroom called Earth that we are all in together, trying to learn from one another, from our experiences with one another, with each other, and with the world, with situations and the news, what's going on in the greater, wider world. All of this is an educational curriculum that we are navigating throughout our lives, and a skillful life uses the body to improve the navigation so that you achieve the true purpose of human life, which is not to collect negativity until you're so stiff that you become a stiff and they bury you in the ground. Ultimately, whether you live a much longer lifespan than is considered normal, or only live maybe to 100, you want your body to be not old and decrepit and stiff and non-functional, with the life force energy stagnant. You want your body, whether you make it to 80 or 100 or 200 or 300, you want your body to be flowing, full of life force energy, flowing effortlessly through you without restriction or contraction or constriction. So that you have a pain-free, supple, healthy, energetic body that reflects back to you the pain-free, supple, healthy energy of a thought system grounded in reality, which is love and realizing that we are all one and in this together. And so going back to my previous video about spiritual purification, those techniques help to they're another way of getting rid of these constrictions and these contractions, especially if you've been suppressing them for so long that you don't even know they're there anymore, and it's difficult. Really, if you simply sit in quiet meditation for like 15 minutes a day and tune into your body, you will be able to, over a course of days, weeks, months, you'll be able to find all these places where you've contracted and suppressed negative energy. And then by bringing your awareness to it and choosing to let go of the negative thought, you can get that contraction out of yourself. But a quicker way and kind of more enjoyable is spiritual purification with earth, air, water, and fire. And so, for example, the last video I was talking about getting in the water. So essentially you have an electromagnetic field. Some people call it the chakras, some people call it the aura. But it's this negative energy can get stuck in that electromagnetic field. And that's what blocks the flow of the life force. The electromagnetic field, it's a measurable electromagnetic field. It's also prana. It's also the basic blueprint of the human body. It's like the underlying substratum of the energetic blueprint from which the physical body manifests. But on a physical level, if you want to consider the chakra system to be a physical kind of a thing, an energetic field is a physical kind of a thing. We measure energetic fields all the time. And the chakra, the electromagnetic field of the body, has been measured. So it's rotating because all electromagnetic fields, and again, these words are difficult. It's really an electromagnetic field. It is, but it's more than that. But it, in some ways, it behaves like electromagnetic fields. So this is like a good metaphor for communicating what's going on. It rotates. Chakra actually is Sanskrit for wheel, because the seers who had the third eye open and could see the chakras saw that it was rotating like a wheel. So they called it chakras. So it rotates like a wheel. It rotates like an electromagnetic field does. And when you get in the water, your field rotates through the water and gets clean. That's why you feel so good after a hot shower. That's why you feel so good after a day at the beach. That's why you feel so good after taking a bath in a bathtub. Your chakra system gets cleaned from rotating through the water. And once it's clean, you become much more sensitive to when you're dirtying it up again. A lot of times people who are not aware of this and just spend their entire life suppressing things and stuffing negative energy down deep down in their body and clogging up their chakra system with this negative energy. And one interesting side note, these negative contractions of energy are associated with negative thoughts, and they get stuck in your chakra system. And you might have had a negative thought when you were 18 years old that you stuffed down because you didn't want to think about it anymore and you didn't want to feel it anymore. And then 50 years later, when you're 60, what is that, 18? Yeah, 40 years later, when you're 60, that negative thought that's still in your system comes back into your mind. And suddenly you're thinking a negative thought from 20 years ago and you have no idea where it came from. And it doesn't have actually, it's more like you have the negative thought when you're 18 and it's stuck in your system, and 3 months later it comes back in again, and then 3 months later it comes back in again, and then maybe 8 months after that it comes back in again, and it builds up and accumulates. It attracts to itself more negative thoughts that are similar in nature to that original negative thought, and it becomes a larger and larger psychic entity of negativity stuck in your field, and it keeps coming back even when nothing in your life is going on that would make you tend to have that thought. It's like it comes from nowhere, came out of nowhere, and it brings you down. It gets you depressed. So you're constantly, it's like a poison that is in your field that you keep getting re-exposed to. And so you can clean that out by spiritual purification practices, getting into a body of water and letting your chakras rotate through the water. You want to be basically as fully submerged, leave your nose out so you can breathe, but you want all of your chakras. Like you could take a bath and you tilt your head back. So now your root chakra, your sacral chakra, your solar plexus chakra, your heart chakra, your throat chakra, and your third eye and crown are all under the water. And you breathe. And your chakras rotate through the water. And for most people just starting out with this, like if you've been accumulating negativity in your chakra system for 50 years or 40 or 30, even 20, it's going to take an hour, hour and a half, 2 hours in the bathtub in the morning and in the evening, twice a day, could be late afternoon, to get it really clean. And once it's really clean, you will immediately feel when you're dirtying it up again. Once you have a clean energy body and you feel the difference, you're never going to want to have a dirty energy body again. It's going to feel icky. So you'll have a tendency to not engage in fear-based thinking that introduces the dirt back into the energy body. And if you continue the practice, make it after you get clean, maybe keep it up once a week or so, then whatever you missed, you can clean out with the spiritual purification. Soaking in the ocean or the sea doesn't take as long. It's you can get in 15-20 minutes what would in a tub of non-moving water take 2 hours. And in a pinch, shower is good. You want to direct the stream over your solar plexus chakra, because that's where most of the accumulation happens. Don't forget the other chakras, but you're taking a shower, so it's not ideal. So the best thing to do is focus on the solar plexus chakra. Focus on how you're feeling under the water. Let your awareness search out constricted, contracted places and work on that. So that's a shower. So that's water. You could also do fire. You build a campfire, like a nice sized fire, and you sit as close to it as you comfortably can, and your chakra system your energetic field rotates through the fire, and the fire cleans it in slightly different ways than the water does. Water is good for healing birth trauma. Fire is good for healing death urge. That's one um, um, significant difference. So if you are regularly sitting with fire, letting your chakra system rotate through the fire, and again, if you're just starting out, when you first start doing this, and you've been accumulating negativity for your whole life, and you've got decades stored up, decades of negativity and contraction stored up, you probably want to start with like a all day, all night. Start at 10 in the morning, 9 in the morning, stay with the fire all day, stay with it overnight, stay with it the next day until you can't take it anymore. And then regularly spend an hour or two at least with the fire every day. And do this for about a month. And that will get you that will get your energy system fairly clean in terms of what fire can take out. And again, the idea is you now know what it feels like to have a clean, uncontracted energy system, and so you're going to be you're not going to want to make it dirty again. You're going to have a innate knowledge, intuitive grasp of when you're getting clogged up again, and you're going to be like, no, I don't want that, and that will help you. It's like making, to go back to my low oil light in the car analogy, it's like making the low oil light better. It helps it to work better, to be more accurate, we could say. Maybe it's like changing the filter. I don't know. The metaphor and analogy is kind of breaking down here, but it just makes it better. You're using your body to tell you whether you're grounded in reality or grounded in delusion. So if you're going to use your body like that, it's helpful to know that most people, by the time they're in their 20s, have really messed up the sensitivity of their body, and it becomes it's not as good at giving you information. It's actually, your body is actually giving you perfect information, but you are not receiving it. So these spiritual purification practices make it easier for you to receive the information and the guidance from accurately feeling what your body is doing in response to what your mind is doing. So that's water, that's fire. Air is breathwork practices. Not like 45 seconds of box breathing. I mean like rebirthing breath work, where you're breathing for an hour and a half, and you feel the energy, the life force energy streaming through you. And, this is not a subtle thing where you're laying there trying to see if you can feel anything, trying to feel the energy, wondering if anything's really happening, and you're just like, oh, I think maybe I feel something. No, you will have no doubt. The energy pours through you. And this is considered air purification. The purifying energy, what it is it's actually your own life force energy amplified, ramped up, so it pours through you, and any place that you have a constriction, it's like a garden hose getting unkinked because you turn up the water pressure. and it starts flowing easily, freely, and smoothly again. And the negative contraction gets healed. So again, you have a cleaner energy body, and you will have a tendency to want to keep it clean because it feels so good. And then finally, we have earth purification. And earth purification is anything that gets your body physically active in contact with the earth. Walk, gardening, getting your hands dirty in the soil of your garden is earth purification. Walking barefoot on the ground is earth purification. Manual labor, chopping wood, carrying water is earth purification. Drumming, any kind of percussion, is earth purification. And the cleansing that happens from earth purification is, again, slightly different from the cleansing that happens from other forms of the other forms. It tends to ground you in a greater joy. Going for a walk in the woods and being aware of your relationship to the trees around you elevates the mood. It makes you happier. It gets you out of yourself, out of an obsessive focus on me. So I guess that's why there are 4 forms of purification. Each one contributes its own little special gift. And so the special gift of the earth form of purification is a kind of relaxed happiness. And, if you do that, a lot of people, you go to the national park on the weekends and you get that relaxed happiness. And then you go in Monday morning to a job you hate and right away get confronted with something. And, right, it's like flipping a switch, right? It's like the difference between night and day. How I felt yesterday versus how I'm feeling right now. Wow, could not be more different. And the tendency is to blame how I'm feeling right now, Monday morning, on my lousy job. But if you look at it, it's because it's easy to fall into your pattern routine Monday morning of going down the delusional thought system road. Because that's what you always do every Monday morning when you go to this job you hate. But you don't have to go down that delusional thought system road. You could bring the thought system from Sunday on your walk in the woods in the national park with you Monday morning and totally transform your experience of your lousy job. Or your experience of your inconsiderate neighbor or your insane family member that's always wanting to talk to you about politics or whatever it might be. You can transform your experience. You can bring a thought system grounded in reality, love, joy, expansion, abundance, cooperation, sharing, community. You can bring that with you wherever you go. That can be the dominant thought system of your life. That can be the one that you normally have or use. That can be like your default setting. And then occasionally, when you're really getting hit from all sides, maybe you go off into delusion land. But if your body is sensitive and your ability to receive the informational signals from your body is tuned up and sensitive, you'll immediately know you've taken a wrong turn, and because you don't want to get feeling crappy again, you will immediately, nope, not doing that, not doing that, not today, and change course. So that really helps you to stay um, to to stay on course and navigate your way through this um, field of existence that we've all manifested for ourselves here on what we call 3D reality in planet Earth. So this leads to a better experience of ordinary life, your day to day existence. But in addition to giving you a better experience of your everyday life, it tremendously advances you on the spiritual path, even if you don't consider it spiritual and you're not interested in spirituality. By becoming how do I want to say this? When you engage in these practices, you're basically we could say that I'm almost famous for saying that any path of self-improvement, no matter how lame, if you stay on it long enough, eventually becomes a spiritual path. Because self-improvement is all about making the ego better, more socially acceptable, more less sabotaging, more rational. But eventually you get to the point where you realize that the ego-based, separation-based, fear-based way of thinking is the problem, and you want to transcend the ego. As soon as you're at that place, you're now on a spiritual path. So these practices that I'm talking about, and using your body as like the low oil indicator to let you know whether you're going the right way or not, um, that could be considered like the self-improvement aspect that makes your everyday life better. But that's also, it makes your everyday life better because you're going from the egoic nightmare to a happy dream. And seeing how you're able to transform your life from the nightmare into the happy dream, right away you begin to realize how unreal all of this is. And you begin to suspect that maybe it's like all the spiritual teachers for thousands of years have been saying, this world is not real because I'm able to change my reality so easily. So how real could it be? So you go from the nightmare of the ego to the happy dream of the thought system based in love. And that it's almost a cliche, raises your frequency, raises your vibration, and that's true, but it also brings you closer to full awakening. You don't, instead of the nightmare becomes a happy dream, and then from the happy dream you can awaken and from dreaming entirely. If you awoke from the nightmare into your true reality, the shock would be too much. So the benevolent universe arranges things so that you first transition from the nightmare of egoic separation, fear-based consciousness to the happy dream of unity, love-based consciousness. So you're almost in reality. You're almost in heaven already. And so when you wake up from the dream, the transition, the difference, the change isn't so tremendous as to be like more than you could handle. It's just a gentle waking up. So that's how all of these things are more than just making your everyday life in the world better and more enjoyable and less challenging and uncomfortable. They're also about giving you tremendous spiritual progress, quantum leaps in your spiritual path, skipping over thousands of years that would otherwise in your reincarnational visits back to this school for your remedial lessons because you didn't get it the first 7,000 times. These things that I'm talking to you about today will make thousands of years of experience unnecessary because you'll get the lessons in a week or two. You'll get the understanding in a week or two. You'll get the spiritual progress much more rapidly. So it's a good thing. So that's all I have for today. Again, if you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment for me in the comments below. And if you like and subscribe and share if you feel so inclined, so that more people will be able to hear and hopefully benefit from what I'm sharing. And thank you to everyone who has subscribed to the channel already. Love you all. And I'll keep sharing. Give me some feedback if you want to have some, if you have any kind of just, input, wishes, how you want me to engage, what you would like to hear about. So that's it. Yeah, you know where to go for the links and stuff. Love you all. Thank you so much. Everybody have a wonderful week.